Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to J&A Talk. I'm your host Jurassic John, and today I'm going to be making what is probably the most personal video posted on this channel thus far, and it'll probably stay that way for a while. It'll probably be a shorter video, shorter than usual, but it's one I feel that I've wanted to make for a while, and one I feel that I need to make before going forward with this channel. The reason I'm going to wear my heart out on my sleeve today is because I'm going to be talking about a person who is near and dear to my heart, and that person is Steve Irwin. I figured now is the best time because earlier in September rather, was the 15-year anniversary of his death when he was killed by a stingray during the filming of a documentary called Ocean's Deadliest on September 4th, 2006. The reason I feel the need to talk about him is because he's my biggest hero, and even though there are other famous people I admire who passed away, he is the only person I've never met whose death made me cry. The only famous person whose death made me cry, rather. And I'm not talking about when it happened. In fact, I didn't cry when it first happened. I was 3rd or 4th grade. But I didn't cry until my freshman year of college when I really thought about the impact he'd made on my life. You could say that's a childish thing to cry over someone you've never met years after their passing, but hopefully this video will do its best to explain why I felt he meant that much to me. But before that, let me explain who Steve Irwin is. For those of you who don't know, Steve Irwin was a popular conservationist and zookeeper from Australia, best known for the television show The Crocodile Hunter, which aired from 1996 to 2004, with specials airing until 2007. It was mostly on Animal Planet, at least that's where I watched it, but you could probably find it other places. He often co-hosted with his wife Terry, and he was known for being this larger-than-life, passionate guy who would take you around the world, teach about different animals. My relationship with Mr. Irwin started when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old, when I would watch The Crocodile Hunter at my grandmother's house. I have fond memories eating a bowl of Cheerios with sugar and some slices of bananas and watching it on her bubble screen TV. My first thoughts surrounding him were that he's like the real-life Crocodile Dundee, or maybe the Crocodile Dundee was the fictional crocodile hunter. I'm not sure which of those two I discovered first, but one reminded me of the other, and they still reminds me of the other today. I also remember wondering why a show called The Crocodile Hunter was about a guy saving and studying crocodiles and other animals as opposed to hunting or shooting them, because, hunter in the title. But nevertheless, I was captivated by the guy, and I would consume just about any piece of media he was a part of. I was obsessed with the show. I loved this movie, Crocodile Hunter Collision Course, which in my view is still an underrated classic. I jammed out to the Wiggle Safari special. I would always get giddy when I saw him in little cameo roles like Dr. Dolittle 2 or whatever. I was obsessed with the word decade because I heard him say it once on his show. My dream for the longest time was to move to Australia and work at the Australia Zoo where he worked. Even a year or two after he died, I remember collecting every bit of change I could, still having me intent on working there, even after he passed away, to pay respects to my hero. But my admiration for the man goes beyond that of just consuming his work. I also saw him as a sort of mentor, someone I would try to model myself after. Because when I was a kid, I didn't really have a very close relationship to my dad. In fact, I had a really negative relationship with him. On top of that, most of the relationships I had with other adult males in my life were negative. To this day, I'm still apprehensive around middle-aged men. As a child, I often try to develop father-son style relationships with the men around me, whether it be my uncle or my mother's partner or what have you, but they didn't really seem to reciprocate much, which I understand because, I wasn't their kid. But oftentimes they weren't very good people, and I just seldom meshed well with them. But Steve Irwin, on the other hand, even though I'd never met him and we lived thousands of miles apart, he felt like a genuine father figure to me. I think it was because he was such an incredible communicator, the way he locked eyes with the camera, the frenetic energy he commanded when speaking, how emotive he was with his body language. He had this ability to pull you through the television screen and into his world. Because of that, I almost felt like I knew the guy. Not only did he help me fill one void in my life by being a mentor, but he gave me something to be interested in. Everybody has a point in their childhood where they start to develop some sort of interest that will carry throughout their childhood and possibly their adulthood. Some get into cars, some like space and astronauts, some like sports. But for me, it was animals, also dinosaurs, but Steve Irwin didn't get me into dinosaurs as much. That would be like Jurassic Park and walking with dinosaurs, but that's a video for another time. It would be my love for animals that formed a huge basis for who I would become today. I started caring for the environment more because I wanted a place for the animals to live. I became vegetarian in high school, then eventually vegan in college, and I haven't eaten meat in over 6 years now because of this love for animals I cultivated from Steve Irwin. And even though he wasn't necessarily a political guy, it was my love for animals, the environment, and my veganism that really influenced my politics and led me to create this channel with my partner as an outlet to express how I feel about these things. I'm 100% convinced that I wouldn't be anywhere near the person I am today if it wasn't for Steve Irwin. Now, I had a lot of people I admired, from directors like Steven Spielberg and Stanley Kubrick to activists like Bernie Sanders and Peter Joseph, but none have left as big an impact and inspired me as much as Steve Irwin did. I honestly feel like I lost someone close to me the day he died, and I know there's millions out there who at least feel the same way. Not to compare my loss to that of the loss his family experienced. I mean, a wife lost a husband, a father lost a son, children lost their father, siblings lost a brother, and colleagues lost a friend, and my heart and spirit goes out to all of them. But I can't help but feel the weight of sadness cloak around me when thinking about his death. A star that shines twice as bright burns half as long is the best quote I can think of to describe Steve Irwin's life. But what brings me a great deal of, or at least a little bit of solace, is the impact that he had left behind. His flagship show, The Crocodile Hunter, was televised in an estimated 500 million homes across 130 countries around the world. The Australia Zoo, which he owned with his wife, is still going strong. His children have followed in his footsteps at wildlife conservation, and he even has a granddaughter now. Even though he's been gone for 15 years, he's still admired by his many fans today, often being put on this pedestal with Mr. Rogers or Bob Ross as like among the nicest people on earth. Thanks to him, an entire generation got introduced to wildlife conservation, and millions got excited and ended up impacting the world in a positive way. I just really wish I had the chance to meet him and to thank him. To thank him for all that he's done for me, for making the worst parts of my life a little bit easier and motivating me to attain the happier parts of my life that I still enjoy today, for inspiring me to become an activist and a dreamer, for helping me mold myself into someone I can be proud of. I don't know what my future holds, but in part thanks to him, I have a path forward. It will be frightening and rough at times, but thanks to Mr. Irwin, I'm not lost. This is the main reason I'm making this video, though. I know whatever I say can't do him justice as long as I just have too many things to say, but I want to do my best to thank him for all he's given me. I believe in God, but I don't necessarily know if there's an afterlife, but if there is, and Mr. Steve Irwin is watching or listening to this video, thank you so much for all you've given me, Mr. Steve Irwin. Thank you. Peace out.
If there's one thing that I, Steve Irwin, would want to be remembered for, it's be remembered for passion and enthusiasm. Conservation is my job, my life, my whole persona.